Breakfast and BS with Vince and Friends. I am, of course, your host, Vince, and today we got producer Virgil, Sergio Top Town Server Wolf Sanchez, our buddy Jeremy.
Buenos dias.
Ooh, getting all Spanglish on us first thing in the morning. We are here, of course, in Santa Fe, beautiful Mesa, California, the jewel of the hills, and fellas, it is always a pleasure.
Yes, good morning.
So, I want to kind of get this out of the way. First and foremost, it's with a heavy heart to announce that Parca de AAA passed away last night. And about in November, he did a suicide dive.
Did you see that?
A plancha suicida, and freaking basically jacked himself up in the match against Rouge.
Like
But
snapped his cervical spine.
yeah, yeah.
Like, went straight into a brick barricade. Like, that was not
Well,
pretty.
you know, the second he did that stutter step on a suicide dive, you know something bad is going to happen. In any dive attempt. If you see a stutter step, just call it off.
Yeah.
And, you know, his foot tagged the rope and he just went down. It was an unfortunate accident, but they didn't think he was going to make it through the night, and he survived a couple months. So, you know, good on him. You know, I love AAA, I love Lucha Libre, I love CMLL, and I've always liked what he does. He's very charismatic. I didn't think he was the best luchador, but the charisma definitely outweighed his technical skill.
Yeah, La Parca's more of a character than a technical, deal anyways, I feel like.
Yeah, and it's just funny right now on Twitter because everybody's saying R.I.P. La Parca, but they're always showing the WCW one, and I'm like, no, there's a lot of...
Not the same.
So for anybody who doesn't know, in the late 90s when all the big lucha talent were leaving for WCW and other spots, AAA decided, oh, well, we're just going to clone the wrestlers. So they took the gimmicks from La Parca, Psychosis, and some other ones and gave them to other wrestlers. And anybody who knows me knows how much I love Psychosis. And I hate the fake Psychosis. Because that man cannot freaking lace up the other one's boots.
Nope.
You know, that's like...
And plus, the real Psychosis saved lives.
He did, just like me.
Lives.
We both saved lives last year. You may not know this, but I saved my mother's life last year.
Well,
Yeah, it's true. I'm a hero.
He doesn't.
I'm
want it
not
be
one to brag.
Yeah, he doesn't want us to forget it.
I'm not one to brag about myself, but I'm a freaking amazing humanitarian.
Just like La Parca.
I'm not Psychosis. Yeah. So, you know, we have that in common.
Yes.
We're both champions of humanity. But I think technically the original La Parca owns the name now, but he like leases it out to AAA.
Okay.
Just because he can make money for doing nothing.
Yeah.
You know, that one already has his built-in fan base, and you know, why not?
this situation has forced me to stop, because I've always just called the original La Parca, right? L.A. Park, right? Whatever they call him now. And this situation has forced me to I gotta call him L.A. Park now. He's he'll always be the OG La Parca to me, but
that's why I don't call Daniel Bryan. I say Bryan Danielson.
yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's why if you notice when I said I didn't say La Parca, I said Parca de AAA. Just because you know, Big Boy's always gonna be number one in my book.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he's La Parca in my book. Even when it's L.A. Park looking like Darth Maul, like a chubby Darth Maul.
He's still kicking ass at 54 or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
But no, that's a terrible
Yeah.
thing that happened, and we wish his family condolences. And you know,
also too. Not to just. I don't want to gloss over his passing, but is this the same organization where the other two didn't they have a couple other deaths as well in the ring, or was that CMLL?
CMLL's had a few deaths. but I don't think they were inside the ring.
Okay, but what like stuff that happened, like I forget his name.
I remember like Dr. X
Yeah.
passed away a few years ago.
Yeah.
But he was CMLL. I remember Abismo Negro they found
Yeah.
like in the river, which really hit me because I was a huge fan.
Yeah.
But no, just luchadors, we don't have a long lifespan.
Yeah, but the ones that when do all the crazy spots, and it's, I mean, I don't
There's a risk.
they should probably take a look at that now. I mean, how much of that you want to have in your hands?
Well-
I know when you get in the ring, it's all on you, but still, it's just I don't know.
What
I
can
don't-
you
I
do?
don't
I mean,
like-
what was it? Super Astro freaking went splat back in the summer.
something like that. Yeah.
He freaking climbed to the rafters and then nobody caught him.
Aerostar?
Or Aerostar, yeah.
Nobody got. No, Chessman just freaking stood there and didn't catch him. He would have taken like a step and a half for him to get in position to catch his ass.
Yeah,
but
he almost
Chessman's a fucking plug.
Yeah.
Doesn't catch Aerostar, and he freaking from the lighting rig hits the freaking floor.
Yeah. Concrete. Just, what is wrong with people?
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Yeah, but
that's what I'm just saying. It's like I think they need to start.
at the same time though, dude, that's a everyday thing. Is a freaking suicide dive, plancha suicida. Done it a million times. I mean, yeah, they said he was beat up recently because of he wasn't 100% because of an old motorcycle accident, but still. How many times do we see that on the show?
Yeah.
If you're on the second match, you've already on your 15th suicide dive.
Yeah.
God damn.
It's a rough life, man.
Yeah. So, that's just an everyday thing. It's like flipping outside the ring. Next thing you know, you think you're going to land on your feet, your knee goes out, and then you've been on the sidelines for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
I'm not talking from experience, mind you.
Yeah. Well, anyway. Okay.
It's just the little things that'll catch you for some reason.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, I'm just helping. Because Samoa Joe, when he does his, he takes it side, and you'll clear the ropes better that way than going this way to get somebody caught.
Well, freaking. All right, I wanted to talk about this while we're on the subject. Then, I am fucking tired of seeing the pretty dive to the outside, because they barely touch the guy. They land on their feet, and it's like, I got hit by a feather. I'm falling over. Before in the 90s when it really became popular, and even with Samoa Joe, that thing is an offensive weapon. They just crash their body into him.
Yeah, you're getting blasted.
If I was wrestling somebody if I was wrestling somebody like Ryan Kidd and he was gonna dive at me, I would tell him, you better fucking dive into me. I'm gonna catch your ass, so you'll be all right. But if you land on your feet, I'm staying on mine, because it's not. That doesn't help me.
No selling.
Yeah. Well, we have a friend named Ronnie Thrash who I don't think I've ever seen sell a dive.
Oh wow.
He's like, nope.
I've seen wrestlers bounce off of him.
Yeah.
The worst for me, and I enjoy the visual spectacle of the flippy lucha spots.
Yes.
I love that stuff. And the worst thing for me is when you have a group of dudes
Waiting.
standing in the same spot, just sort of expanding and contracting as a group for 40 seconds, setting up for somebody to do a tope con hilo, and the guy freaking misses and barely brushes one, and everybody bumps,
falls over.
and it's just come on.
Right.
Oh, that's goddamn ridiculous.
Yeah.
But no, I'm just saying, if you're gonna dive, make it an offensive weapon. Don't just I'm gonna land on my feet, go back out, dive again, go back out, dive like a goddamn Danny Limelight match.
It's got to have some gravity to it, right?
Yeah. You can't believe that someone who's going to be 4 feet tall is going to body slam Vince. It just doesn't make sense. Right.
Yeah.
So.
The logistics are a little,
Yeah.
the physics are off.
Yeah. So. Okay.
But you can tell a good story trying to get it there.
Yeah.
But-
Exactly.
Well,
Character development.
Yep.
Well, if you really think about it, you go back to when Hurricane freaking chokeslammed The Rock.
Yeah.
Hurricane's chokeslam was a comedy spot.
Yeah.
But then they built that to the point where The Rock actually took it.
Yeah.
And then when he did, and The Rock sold it like a fucking, only The Rock can sell something, everybody exploded.
Yeah. See, but you build it.
Yeah.
Build up to it. Yeah. So. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So,
Well,
I'm just saying,
yeah.
young children, listen to your elder.
Yes. Very much so.
It's an offensive spot.
Yes.
Make it offensive. Yeah, you want to look pretty. You want to land on your feet and go, look at me, I'm a gymnast. And guess what? Brian Boitano, you're not. I think he's a figure dance ice skating.
Figure skater.
Whatever, same thing.
Whatever. It's gymnast on ice.
Yeah. It's ice gymnastics.
It's more or less accurate.
So, you know what? Make it an offensive, make it look good. Because I will guarantee you this, if you try diving on me, I will let your ass fall. Because
You didn't move you.
yeah, because you didn't move me. If I see you coming at me like a freaking freight train, you're damn well I'm going to catch you, and I'm going to bump you, and I'm going to bump my ass for you.
Yeah. There you go. Good soldier.
Just
Also-
don't pull a Congo crush and move out of the way.
I've seen Thrash do that too.
Yeah.
That bastard.
Also,
Jeez.
thank you, Jeremy. More or less accurate is probably the best endorsement that this show's gotten in a long time.
It's specifically vague.
Yes. All right. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So I know Jeremy's been.
Yeah.
He's
So last week was a big weekend for our buddy Jeremy. It was New Japan Pro Wrestling's Wrestle Kingdom.
This is like what, Super Bowl of Japan?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't see a lot of crossover promotion thing, but yeah.
They expanded it to 2 days, thank the Lord, instead of trying to do like a whole 17-hour
18 hours.
show.
Yep. That's pretty amazing. Yeah, and they did a good job of pacing it out, I felt like. So, yeah.
It was also, we said goodbye to the legendary Jushin Thunder Liger, who retired. I actually saw the Jericho and Tanahashi match, and I saw the Okada versus Naito match. Because I was like, if Jeremy's coming, I gotta at least see the Naito match.
Yeah.
And you know what? I gotta see Jericho because I have nothing but love for that man. And I will honestly say I was not disappointed by either of those matches.
No, the Tanahashi match was Jericho's best match in New Japan. I feel like hands down, better than the Omega match, which everybody raves about. That first one.
I'm just checking, making sure Jeremy's hands are clear. I'm not gonna lie. I actually enjoyed the Jericho match more than I did the Tanahashi or the Naito match.
Okay.
All right.
I'm not going to stab you for that.
Thank you, appreciate it.
You're allowed that opinion. So.
No,
I have like
know-
a huge.
I know-
I had so much emotional
I know,
investment in
yes,
the.
exactly. He had so much
the main
emotional
event,
investment,
like-
but I just felt that Tanahashi and Jericho were just having so much fun in that match.
Oh, it was
together.
awesome. No, it was great. It was like I said.
But you see Naito's match. He's like, I'm proving myself here today. Nothing's stopping me.
Honestly, the whole event was awesome. Like, with the exception of the 2 8-man tags on the first night that basically didn't do anything, they could have. Like, give us the Rumble instead of those 2 matches. I would have rather seen the New Japan Rumble, personally. A little more fun. But aside from that, like, man, how the whole show is just the way they set everything up. Like, the way they told the story. And, like, you guys have, when I was here last time, I've done plenty of complaining about Gato and how he books and, like... And the sort of perception that he's been freaking shafting Naito for 6 years basically, and like I don't know how you could have booked this story to end any better than it did, honestly. Like I have to.
It was just a slow burn.
And I don't know if Gato did this because Naito's so over that the fans were gonna react adversely if he didn't, if it was like that kind of a situation, or if he willfully booked that, but it came out brilliant. Well, like regardless, like
I feel he booked it the way it needed to be booked, just because they built it so much, gave him so much time, gave him so much attention, from coming back being tranquilo, and then freaking winning the Intercontinental title, and then trashing it, and then the build up of Tanahashi getting it back and then restoring it. Then you see Naito when he wins it back, just taking care of the belt for the most part, not just kicking it around. And then you see him like lose the tranquilo and see everything start to get to him, and then coming back, losing, and then coming back and winning these 2 nights. And I just felt it was the long burn.
Yeah, it was. I mean, you figure that they tied up a story that had its origins 7 years prior.
Yeah, that's a long.
So that's a long story arc right there. So like I can understand. Like I was getting impatient waiting for it to wrap up lots of people.
Cut 92 as a loss.
Yeah, absolutely. After Wrestle Kingdom 12, I had a legitimate concern about that. Like, are they gonna, like, they got to do this, right? They have to pull the trigger on him eventually. Dude is like, I saw some data from a fan survey in Japan that Naito's almost twice as popular as like the next most popular guy over there, like in New Japan anyhow, and that's pretty insane when you're talking about like Tanahashi and Okada and Kota Ibushi. Like that's so. Anyway, just the whole first night thing, like. The build towards it was awesome. Everybody raised.
It wasn't Jay White.
Yes.
Yeah, that would have just changed the entire dynamic of the whole show.
It would have, and quite honestly, like Jay White makes everybody boring. Like he does.
What?
He
No,
works
he looks
so
like he's bored.
slow.
I honestly, he doesn't do anything for me.
Nothing.
He doesn't.
He works so slow. And like so plotting, and the freaking people that mark out over him are like, "Oh my god, he's so technically good." I'm like, no. Zack Sabre Jr. is a technical master. Jonathan Gresham, Timothy Thatcher, guys like that. Those are good technical wrestlers. Jay White is not a good technical wrestler compared to those guys. They're just looking for any praise they can shower on the guy because he's the company's like
I think he
golden
works
boy
cheap.
right now.
I think he works cheap.
Yeah.
Cheaper than some of the others.
He works like a WWE guy.
Oh, fun
He-
fact about working a technical wrestler. Just something I've learned. Shut the hell up, grab where they tell you to, and they'll make you look like $1,000,000. They'll just like, here, take my wrist. He'll do the move. Here, take this leg. Make you look like $1,000,000.
I saw a Twitter post from Alex Shelley, I think, not that long ago, where he was talking about. He said, no matter what, if you're wrestling in a match and you sort of lose your way, you could never have too much technical wrestling ability in a situation like that, because no matter where you are in a match, technical wrestling will get you out of a bad spot. Like the way he described that, I was like, oh, that's
Turn a disadvantage to a
Well, it makes sense because, like, what would you do logically in this situation? That's why.
It's having the tools.
Really,
yeah.
just look at any indie show when you see the pre-planned spot monkey.
Mm-hmm.
The second something doesn't go right, lost.
Yeah.
And they
The
don't
whole pace is
they
off.
don't know how to get back because they've planned out everything.
Yeah.
So they just go right back to that move, and if they don't do it again, they'll go right back to it.
Right.
And then maybe you're lucky on the fourth or fifth time, they're like, okay, we need to drop this.
Yeah. Well,
Ad-libbing is underrated.
Well, so here you go. Like, okay, I can recall a match when I don't think we didn't even, we just went over the important parts, but the match I just brought in ring psychology. I worked the guy's leg. I mean, I just smashed it, whatever I needed to do, and then we didn't even talk about it, but he went along with it because, I mean, that's what happens. You know how to work. You know what I mean, understand what's going on in the match, not what your spots are. So it's
Yeah. Well, again, we were trained differently than a lot of the guys are today.
Yeah.
We're trained Southern style, Southern tell the story.
Midwest, Southern style.
Yeah.
So, but it's yeah. Anyway, so
Tell the story, baby.
Yeah, take it.
So my argument is just like literally. I mean, Naito's my favorite wrestler in Japan. Everything up until like the last 10, 12 minutes of that match was really hard to watch. Because Jay is just, he works so slow. And I don't mean this as a compliment at all, but he works like a WWE guy. He works that boring, quote, safe, unquote, style that somehow gets more people hurt than any other company. But
Younger Randy Orton.
Somebody made this comparison, and it makes total sense to me. Jay White is young Triple H. When Triple H was young, people didn't tune into Triple H to see Triple H. They tuned in to see who he was fighting.
Right.
So that's exactly Jay White right now. Like people don't tune in to see him; they want to see his opponent, and like, unfortunately, he makes everybody boring at this point. So, but there's.
Got you. He's bringing the president of New Japan's daughter. I understand where you're going with this.
Don't start rumors.
So, but the way that they led Naito back in that match, and like I really enjoyed like the story they told in both matches. The last like 10 minutes of the Naito Jay White match was awesome. Like, and Jay White is Geto's boy, so like you always have to keep in the back of your mind, Geto might fuck this up. Jay White might go over here. Like, you're thinking in your reasonable mind, you're thinking there's no way he's gonna put this clown over here, right?
Yeah.
And like, but it's Geto and it's Jay White, so you never know. Like, you could, it left the outcome in enough doubt that like.
Let's throw a wrench in this rather than doing the right thing.
So it's
Right.
basically,
Yeah, exactly.
So it's basically like whenever you're watching a Triple H match.
Yeah.
It's really,
Yeah.
you're like, this guy has a chance of winning, but it's Triple H.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like
It's like the video game.
you know, like when you have like WrestleMania and you see Sting come to the WWE for the very first time, you're like, there's no way in hell they're gonna put Triple H over.
Nah.
That would be the stupidest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Did you read that article where in the video games they programmed it so you could not beat Triple H?
No.
They programmed it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So
hilarious.
anyway, let's
That
not.
That's probably why I never wrestled Triple H in any of the video games.
Yeah.
When I used to buy those, just because I didn't want to wrestle Triple H. I was like, oh my god, I can have Mysterio versus this guy. This, or look, I'm gonna create this guy.
Yeah. No. It's anyway. Sorry. Didn't mean to digress. But anyway. So.
But I will say, dude, I loved like I said, the Naito versus Okada match. Okada was aggressive as hell in that match, dude. You know what? I don't know if it was the short shorts or what, dude, but
I know, yeah. It's Okada comes out in his like final boss mode, Wrestle Kingdom gear, and he's like in Dun-Dun-Duns now. So like all the female fans are stoked about that.
you know, I will say that
Like-
kid, Okada's legs are as tan as his shorts.
Wow. He's almost naked.
And those things are gold.
Yeah.
It's like brown and gold patched in, so it's like, and they match his legs perfectly. You're like, god damn, how'd that happen?
Yeah,
But no, like seriously, like when you see freaking Okada like put jam Naito's knee in the table and all that other stuff, I was like, god damn, dude, these freaking.
So what about back? So back to night one though. What about that? What about the Osprey Hiromu match? Let's chat about that for a minute.
I did not watch that.
Oh man,
I don't have New Japan World. I just found a couple links here and there to watch those two matches.
Oh, man.
But if you
It's
wanna
the
give us
best-
if
it's
you want
the-
to give us a quick review, I'm done.
New Japan World is like the best $8 and like 75
It
cents a
fluctuates
month.
too, right? Doesn't it?
Yeah,
'Cause of
exactly.
the yen.
It's never been more than $9.21 a month for me.
Nice.
But totally worth it for all the awesome content that you get there.
Yeah. I'm actually considering.
Harold Meiji, if you hear this, I expect my endorsement check. Anyways, so Osprey Hiromu, dude, so man, might have been the best match of the weekend. Was probably the second most most emotionally weighted match because of Hiromu's comeback and stuff like that, and so. And like, of course, Hiromu's a nut, and like, he's like the first thing. Have you seen the match yet?
I have not. I just know the post.
They're telling the neck story big time. Like they're working it. He's taking neck bumps, like, and it's enough to make you uncomfortable, like a little bit. But it works in this context of the story. It does.
You know what? I
It
saw
does.
a
It works.
gif of one of those. I was like,
Yeah.
motherfucker, you just came back.
And Osprey has a tendency to like get carried away in matches. I feel like he gets emotionally caught up, and he'll work a little stiff sometimes, or like, or the overselling thing on the other end of it. You see that a lot with him. But I mean the match delivered. It was great. It was fantastic. Hiromu needs a new finisher to beat Will Ospreay, because Will Ospreay is basically God mode in the junior division at this point. Even if you understand storylines and you know, okay, Hiromu's going to go over here, Ospreay moves up to heavyweight, right? That's the obvious end result of that match. But it was, man, just the closing stretch. There were some near falls that just like, man, the most talked about thing in that match probably is there's a spot in the match where Ospreay tries to do, or comes over the top, tries to do a tope con hilo. Hiromu catches him, gives him a German, like, on the ramp. Ospreay lands on his feet, runs back toward the ring. Hiromu grabs him and throws him into the ring like a
belly.
Yeah. Ospreay lands on his feet, goes against the back rope, and then comes over and does a Sasuke special, like, pretty spectacular spot, like,
and then he hits that one.
Hits it, yeah, hits the Sasuke special, yeah, pretty impressive, pretty impressive spot to watch.
Ospreay's is going to be all over the place, but yeah, that sounds like a really impressive spot.
The two of them have really good ring chemistry, and like they put on a great match. So anyway, that was a fantastic match. Hiromu debuts the Time Bomb 2 as his new finisher. We didn't know the name of it before. He was asked after what the name was, and he's in Hiromu's dopey, sort of adorable mannerism. He answered, I guess it's called the Time Bomb 2. So
that's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny. Well, that usually is a All Japan thing to create new moves like that. So that's a good nod. That's nice like that.
And you think about guys like, although of course Yuji Nagata's worked in All Japan, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
But how many versions of the Nagata lock are there? You know.
I lost count at 27.
Yeah. So anyway, so Ospreay Hiromu, awesome. I don't know what Meltzer rated it, and I don't care. But it's for me, it's a
I
easy
stopped caring
5.
about the Meltzer rating when he started getting carried away with the system.
Yeah, he gave the main event of night 2 4.75, which to me is like, okay, that's a good rating, but given the emotional levity and weight of that match, that's a 5-star match.
Yeah, see, that's the inconsistency of when he started giving like 6 stars and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
Because of that, and you're like, it's not as good as it could be now because you already freaking changed your scale. So what's the scale for what?
It's called promotional journalism.
And then are you taking into account the long journey of everything, the actual story of everything, or are you just rating the match? Yeah. So, you know.
True. So that was sort of that was the highlight of night 1, and obviously Naito beating Jay White. The Okada Ibushi match was awesome too. Like, that was the best. Worlds better than their G1 match. Worlds better than their G1 match. So I was really, really impressed with that match. Ibushi's going to be going through the break him way down to build him way up cycle now, because he got swept over the weekend. So I was surprised. I expected he would beat Knife Pervert on night 2, and that didn't happen. But so we head into night 2, and there's some cool stuff that happens leading up to Liger's retirement ceremony, most notably, right? Hiromu pins Liger. That's it. I love the cut where Liger's music hits and he's doing the ring entrance, and they cut to Hiromu's face, and he's got this like look on his face, like just like, here we are, and it's just a really, really cool spot. And I'd be remiss not to say too, the English commentary team on New Japan World did an awesome job.
It sounds better. A lot
Kevin
better.
Kelly, Chris Charlton, Rocky Romero, who they're, by the way, I've recently heard they're grooming Rocky Romero to take the books over in New Japan.
Really?
Yeah, apparently. So
for the Gaijins or for?
I don't know. I just I don't know any more than
Gaijin.
that.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's a coach. So. But
good for Black Tiger 4. Good for him.
I like Rocky anyways.
Oh, I've always liked Rocky.
Watching him work like personally, because I've after he refed his matches, and I'm like, dude, this guy hits hard.
Yeah, he's funny too, dude. He knows how to engage a crowd. Like he's a
I think
pro,
this is
man.
before his New Japan run because he was a lot more serious.
Gotcha.
But now he's having fun.
You can ask Sergio this, dude.
There
Was a show in San Diego where Rocky Romero was doing I think it was probably one of the last times where he was like officially coming out as Black Tiger 4, and I was dead set on going, and I did not go as a favor to Sergio.
Why?
Because it was Johnny Lowe's birthday, and I said, "Fuck Johnny Lowe." I'm seeing Rocky Romero as Black Tiger, and Sergio didn't want to deal with some people, so he needed me to help be his buffer. He's like, and he called in. He gave me the puppy dog eyes, and he's like, "I need you." So, shit. So, long story short, I've never seen Black Tiger 4 wrestle.
You can blame Johnny Lowe.
Although it was a fun night. No Black Tiger for this guy.
Thanks for reminding me. Thanks for being there. I don't think I would have made it through that night without you.
No, it was a
We're friends for.
Anyway, sorry.
The English commentary team and like Chris Charlton does a great job. I finally ordered Eggshells. I got to read his book about the history of professional wrestling in the Tokyo Dome. But he's like Chris Charlton's like the encyclopedia of Japanese professional wrestling. Like he has so much cool information about like storylines and the wrestlers and characters involved. It's a huge asset to the show. And adding him to the English commentary team is the best thing they ever did. Like it makes such a huge difference.
Yeah, I could when I was watching those couple of matches, I was like, oh, commentary is like on it.
Really good, really
on
good.
it, so.
Yeah, especially the night 2 main event, right? Charlton sets the table and tells this whole story during Naito's predictably long walkout, and it's just it's so awesome. I've watched the match probably 6 or 7 times now, just like trying to make sure I get it, take it all
Wrestling
in.
analyst.
Totally. Well, it is honestly for me. No, it is. As a wrestling fan, it's the most emotionally rewarding payoff that I've experienced in like. And I've been a wrestling fan for a long time. I was just more invested in the payoff of this story than I have been in anything else. So, anyways, so we get to the main event of night 2, and it's glorious. Naito walks out and he's got this fuzzy white robe that's got like the Los Ingos like logo on the back. Says Destino on it and says Todo Nada, like all or nothing on there, which is like that's exactly what the weekend is all about, right? And Charlton's telling this story as he's walking down the ramp and the table's being set, and here comes God Mode Okada and his like black light glowing gear, like walking down to the ring, and like the weight of the event is just not lost on anybody. The freaking crowd is red hot, even after hearing people who were there in the building talk about it. They were like, it's hard to be loud in the Tokyo Dome because that building is so big and there's so much air in there, and it was loud in there, like ridiculously loud. So, and you could feel the energy of the crowd. It was just awesome. The way they told the story was great, like selling the knee. Like just over and over again, Okada even not turning heel, but he's definitely working heel in spots in that match where he's targeting that bam.
Yeah.
I'm
on the table.
He went Hogan.
Yeah.
Man,
Well, Hollywood Hogan.
that was
Because you watched Hogan, he kept his heel moves even when he was a face.
Yeah, I know.
He'd
Yeah,
still
scratching the
stretch
back, scratching the back. Yeah.
and they kept telling the story about like if the knee makes him hesitate, like all it took in Wrestle Kingdom 12 was a split second hesitation to cost him that match. And like they were like, and that the way they told that story, there were a couple spots where like Naito hesitated and got in trouble for it, and like and they had another spot at the end where he does a Destino and like goes to jams his knee, and like there's about a 4-second delay in him being able to cover and hook the leg on Okada, and he kicks out. And just the way they told that story was awesome. And the whole, like, the Stardust press. It's like 3 a.m. I lost it in my house. My neighbors probably hate me, like, and like he goes up to the top rope, and he doesn't look stable at all going up. He does a really good job of selling that this is a risk, like this is all or nothing, literally right here. And he hits the Stardust press, and it was beautiful, and like. We're coming up on and Okada kicks out. It would have been awesome to see him like actually score pinfall with the Stardust press, but I get why they didn't do that. Right. So, just all the callbacks to their previous matches and stuff, and there was just beautiful. And then, so finally, Okada's taking over. He's given Naito multiple Rainmakers at this point, like in the same sequence. Naito reverses one on him, hits a Destino, and that sort of turns the tide of the match at that point. Hits Gloria, gives him another Destino for good measure, covers him, and he kicks out. I love this part of the story. They told this in night 1 in the Jay White match too. So Naito's trying to achieve his destiny, and both nights he needed Valentia, that setup move, to hit Destino and score pinfall. Like, courage is the path to destiny. He needed courage to achieve. He needed that courage to achieve his destiny, and I love that they told that story. And like, as soon as he picked him up for that Valentia, that sort of jackhammer driver move, as soon as he hit that, I was like, I exhaled. I was like, that's it. He is winning this match. And Okada's the golden boy in New Japan, right? Maybe the greatest IWGP heavyweight champ ever. Like, you never know. He is Gato's like safe card in a hole anytime, and you never know. He could go over at any moment, and so the world is waiting for Naito to win. And but you know in the back of your mind, this is Kazuchika Okada, like, and
this is like the Ultimate Warrior's Hulk Hogan,
and
like
it really is, and you never know. Like, Okada could still go over here, and that's it, and Naito's buried forever, basically, if that happens. He's never getting out of that hole. And scored pinfall. My eyes got watery. Like, it was awesome. I was so emotionally invested in that match and that like story coming to that outcome, and like it was perfect. And people are mad about the whole like we didn't get a roll call thing at the end with Kenta and like all that stuff. It's part of the story, and that's Naito's character, man. That dude never has it easy. He never takes the easy way anywhere. Adversity is part of the story. And so,
I mean, it would have been nice had they let him celebrate for a little bit, but they didn't give him any rest.
So I have a theory for that. So his first title defense against Kenta for both belts is in Osaka, where the fans originally turned on the Stardust Genius. So I think the plan is Naito goes over in Osaka, and we get the big LIJ roll call in Osaka. Yeah. So.
Good theory.
But it was, for me, that's the best emotional payoff for like anything that's happened in my life as a wrestling fan. Like, it was awesome. Like I said, I've watched the match 6 or 7 times now. I'm sure I'll watch it more once New Japan actually pieces out the individual matches in the on-demand section, instead of making me fast forward through 3.5 hours of stuff to get to it every time. But anyway, so Naito's the first double champ. Like, he won the most important match in the history of New Japan to this point. You know what I mean? That's in it. No, so regardless of any, just like any no run in from Kenta or anybody else is going to take that out of the history books now. You know, so I'm pleased with it going forward. They're treating, it's really small sample size, but they're treating him like the top guy, which gives me some hope that maybe they're going to let him run with it for a little while.
I hope they do,
So-
because he's at the age where Muto and all any of the top 10 Japanese wrestlers who held the title for years, he's at that age, he's at that skill level, and he can do his three moves of doom and people will love it. But I'm just saying is
Points, Destino, go home.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think this is his time, and that's the thing is Okada has more mileage, so he can always come back after Naito or whatever. So
No, yeah, Okada will get at least one more long run. He's 32 years old. There's no way that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I feel like, but it is a little weird. Naito's sort of been in this like tweener space for a while, where he's not really quite a heel or a face. In the build up to this, like over the course of 2019, you saw Naito really like work heel in some matches, and you thought to myself, are they going to turn him back to that because that's what got him over? Does he need to go back to that to get to the top of the mountain? And they went in the other direction, obviously, and now it's like he's double champ. He's cutting babyface promos, and it's like I remember these from the Stardust Genius days, but at the same time, like it's really, really odd when you've got used to seeing Naito as this sort of renegade, like Austin-ish kind of character. Austin was never really a true babyface, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the fans made him a baby.
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
really similar to like what's going on with
Yes,
Naito right now.
right.
So anyway, so I loved it. It was awesome. It was like a near perfect event. I thought we were going to get some weird Sonata storylines, maybe leaving LIJ, coming into New Year's Dash, because he was the only guy that walked out of Wrestle Kingdom without a win or a belt. But obviously that didn't happen. They did a good job of like teasing something, and I still think Sonata's the guy who's going to leave LIJ eventually, although I don't want it to happen.
I think if they're going to pull the trigger, that'll be later in the year.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen soon.
It's too early. Yeah.
I think they'll seed the story. I think I wouldn't be surprised at New Beginning if Sonata goes over Jay White. I wouldn't be surprised to see Sonata challenge Naito for one of the titles, because Naito said in the last press conference that after Kenta he's going to defend them individually, so the titles are going to get split up again.
Oh, weird. Okay.
Yeah, he doesn't want to defend them both at once except in very special circumstances, and he's like, well, Kenta has balls, he showed up and challenged me, I'll give him that if New Japan's cool with it, but from after this match I'm defending them one at a time. So
Cool.
So the titles are going to get split up, which was a concern of mine because they have so much talent there. It's like, are you going to can you really afford to get rid of another of a belt that's supposed to have a pretty high stature? So same. They've elevated the U.S. title by tying Jon Moxley to it now. Shingo's probably going to win the never open weight title at New Beginning. He's the perfect guy to elevate that belt right now. So
I would say, okay, so just kind of in general, right? This is how you end a story and you start a new one, right? I mean, in just general storytelling, all of this stuff is, quote, planned, right? But that's the beauty of it, right? So I think even you have to be super invested for years in certain things like that. Like, you have a TV special, or not TV special, TV series, something significant happens every season, right? So, I mean...
You gotta keep coming back, right?
Yeah, so it's just sort of, this is, I think, because people are so impatient for things to happen, they jump the shark or they hot shot it, whatever you want to call it, but it's like, just let people... Just let them process it.
I think Hot Shot's been the big detriment of booking here in the States.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's WWE brain rot. Like, I feel like that's the effect of that. People have gotten so used to, like, nothing but WWE that they want everything instantly, because WWE hasn't done long-term storytelling in how long?
20 years, probably.
Yeah.
So, anyway. But, you gonna say something?
Oh, was till lost my train of damn thought.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
No worries. No. So basically good things to come from New Japan. Hopefully, a good destiny ahead of them. We'll see how they do in the States, especially now since they lost their U.S. TV
access.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Did you see the cards that they that for the New Beginning U.S. tour in the East Southeast? They get Tanahashi and Kota Ibushi. Those are the two biggest stars they get on the tour. But there are no title defenses. No, it's pretty
bare bones.
I'm glad they didn't book a West Coast show, and I didn't pay $200 for a first 3 rows ticket to see that card. Yeah.
Well, let's see where they goes.
Yeah,
But at least they're not booking it. But I will say, give them this just really briefly. At least it's not the super Bullet Club heavy booking they've been dumping on the U.S. the last couple of years. So
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think as soon as they lost the Elite, the club just lost immediate.
I feel like Ghetto still has this disillusioned idea that the Bullet Club is still over. I feel like they're NWO 2000 level tired at this point, and that shtick lost its appeal a long time ago, and they're trying to recreate the Devitt era, and they have no Devitt there to do it with. Kenta's closer than Jay White, but I don't know. I feel like it's time to cut bait on the Bullet Club thing.
Yeah, I honestly agree. I take the Tongans, put them with Kenta and call it good. Have them freaking just come up with something else.
Kenta Army. I don't know. Anyway.
I don't know. Just because I love Tongans.
Yes. Oh yeah. Tongans will string you up. Yes, they will.
I have partied
Yes.
and freaking from dusk till dawn. And let me tell you, sir, you have not partied till you had a Tongan party. Because a Tongan party don't stop.
Survived.
Yes. No, but actually, I do like the God and Bad Luck Fale.
I like Ishimori. I enjoy Kenta as a performer. I just don't those characters in another context would probably be fine, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The Bullet Club is just so tired. I roll my eyes. They've run out of anything creative to do with that. The Kenta thing is the most interesting thing that's happened to the Bullet Club in 2 years, probably.
Yeah. But then again, I do like the bunny girl. She holds my attention. Yeah. She can hold my attention any day of the week. Moving on. But yeah, no, so hopefully good things. Freaking AEW has Bash of the Beach this week. I'm looking to see what they're going to do with that in Florida.
Hopefully better than last week's episode, which was pretty disappointing, I felt like.
I liked it. I didn't love it. I thought they were doing more talking than walking on that episode.
Yeah, it was...
And some weird booking choices.
Some of the angles and stuff, the Nightmare Collective thing, maybe 3 months from now, maybe we're all getting worked and we all love it, right? Mm-hmm. That's the best case scenario, but right now it looks bad. And they took a can't miss match. That Rio Chris Statlander match.
That was a good match.
Should have been a freaking 5-bell, amazing. Both those ladies are talented. They can both work. That would have been an awesome match, and they fucking just pissed all over it like that. And then the Brandy on commentary thing is she's trying to. It feels like she's trying to do the Stephanie thing, and she's burying the whole division when she gets on commentary, and it's this is not good, guys. Come on. It's weird, and I like all the I support AEW. I like everybody in that company, but
yeah,
man, that just did not come off good at all.
Yeah, you just really have to. I don't know. It's you want them to do really well, but then you have to actually go through all their hiccups as well.
Yeah.
It's just
growing pains.
Yeah.
I feel knowing that you can't possibly be worse than Raw is not necessarily a good thing, right?
Yeah.
So it might make you feel like you have a little more creative freedom to experiment than you really do.
Although Chris Jericho made me laugh my ass off on Wednesday, just because John Moxley was given a chance to join the Inner Circle.
Yeah, I enjoyed that spot.
And John Moxley, quote unquote, joined for a little while, And I was like, how long is it going to take Chris Jericho to say he didn't sell out, he bought in? The Lars Ulrich, or the Lars Ulrich saying or whatever, sell out every night. We sell out every night or whatever. And sure enough, when he said it, I was like, that didn't take that long at all. But then when John Moxley betrayed him and hit him with the water bottle to see freaking former Heath Slater, I forgot his real name right now, just like holding him. I was like, oh man, I wish I had computer skills so I would just match up that picture with My Heart Goes On.
That's awesome.
But I actually enjoyed the Cody and Dustin versus the Lucha Brothers match. I thought that was very good. The resurrection of Dustin Rhodes. Jesus Christ, that guy.
I enjoyed the match. I don't think you can... Phoenix is one of the top guys in the world. How do you have Phoenix eat a pin to 50-something-year-old Dustin Rhodes? Like that... I can't... That doesn't work for me, personally. That's me being a smart, maybe, but like that doesn't work for me. He at 50, he's good, but he doesn't get the pin Ray Phoenix. Like that's an interesting... And the Lucha Brothers are getting buried right now, basically.
Yeah.
Like they're not even in the top 5 in the rankings. Yeah. So I don't understand that at all. The best tag team in the company, and they're getting buried. Maybe
also,
again,
but at the same time, you got to take it into context too, because that was a tribute to Memphis. That show, and Dustin Rhodes is probably the only one left besides Chris Jericho who works the Memphis system.
That's a fair point. Yeah, that's a fair point.
So that's a good. I think that's a good tip of the cap to where you're at. But no, Penta and Phoenix definitely need steam.
I don't understand. So there's been some talk about it maybe being a contract thing. Like AEW wants them to be exclusive in the U.S. and they apparently haven't signed a U.S. exclusive deal. Just like AAA wants them to go exclusive in Mexico, and they're just like, but those guys work every freaking day. They take a day off a couple times a month maybe, and like they're constantly working. But I feel like between Tony Khan's money and AAA, they should be able to pay them enough to like offset that, so they don't have to freaking travel constantly be on a flight going someplace to work, and like you're like, this is where I'm going. I mean, it could also be that they want that too.
I think they're the epitome. They can't be bought at this point. They're like, no, we want to work anywhere, everywhere, dude. Whether it's a barn in the Midwest or a small town in freaking Mexico somewhere, we'll be there.
I'm good with that. If that really is what's keeping AEW from pushing them, like they set them up early, like they were going to be the monster tag champs for a long time, and then all of a sudden just nothing.
You don't have them under some kind of lockdown. You can't push them because what if they get hurt in that barn or that small town?
So then what's the point of having them there if you're not going to push them?
Well, they've already signed their contract. The contract that they did sign. So, fans are going to expect to see them.
Yeah.
Especially since they did put that little bit of a rocket ship on them to begin with.
And so fans are also going to expect them to win more often than not. That's going to be a problem if they're going to keep going that way. So. No, they have, but they've lost I think 3 or 4 matches in a row now on TV.
Yeah, that's just the rise and fall of wrestling.
True.
You can't,
But I just
here we're talking about the long road of freaking Naito,
that's
and
fair.
you're
I do need to keep that in mind. Yeah.
And you're like, no, we need to hot shot these guys after you just damned hot shotting.
I don't necessarily think hot shotting them, but I feel like they're the best tag team in the division. And like, if there's a story reason for it, if you're burying them to build them back up and give them an awesome run, then cool. I'll shut up and sit down. If you're burying them just to bury them, that's fucking bullshit.
No, I think they've had some good wins. That's what I'm trying to say.
Some huge wins.
I mean, you go over, so, okay.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to wrap this one up. As you can tell, we love wrestling. Sergio, thank you for hanging in there as much as you can.
I love it that you guys love it.
So you can like and follow Producer Virgil's band Stay Ill, Sangus Tribute to Smith and more. So you can find them on stayll.net, Facebook, and Instagram. Coming out soon with a new logo, maybe some t-shirts.
I'll show it to you right now.
You can find Sergio on Facebook next to Jurassic Park. Cheap, but leave him alone. He's a cranky old man. You can find Jeremy on Twitter at Naito's Mullet. Go check them out. You can find us on Instagram at Breakfast and BS. One of these years we will update. Thanks for stopping by. Oh, and you can watch, you can coming soon, pretty soon, mine and Jeremy's new show, The Smark and the Bear.
Down with that.
Smark and the Bear.
Smarky in the bear.
Smarky and the Bear. Joking. Thanks for stopping by. I'll get the check.